Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Sherm in the Booth. My name is Sherm. You guys are some true Chicagoans for coming out in January. It's snowing outside, it's freezing, and you're at the fucking club at 1 a.m.
Boys with the bass, yeah, boys, bass.
Who am I talking to right now? You're famous.
Free food, free drinks, music, girls. Let's go.
Do you like it? Cool. If you don't, goodbye.
I'm missing the most important part.
Boys with the bass, yeah.
We should throw like a crazy bar mitzvah party.
This is crazy. Send me stems. I finished it.
Hey, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
Just wait, you know it kicks in like 3 to 5 seconds afterward.
Yo, what's up, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm, of course, your host, Sherm. Today is Wednesday, March 23rd, 2022, and this is episode 199. Wow, we are just one away from 200, and as excited as I am to make it there, we've got to pause and appreciate how great of an episode we have for you today. SITB 199 features the multi-faceted EDM content creator, Emma Kapotes. Emma is so dope on many levels and has built an incredible brand through her content and podcast called Rave Culture Cast. I've been a fan of her for a long time and it's so great to connect with her one-on-one. At episode 199, we got it all in and started by talking about her journey into dance music. Emma was born and raised in New Jersey and fell in love with dance music after her first EDC in 2015. She started going to more festivals and shows across the US and quickly realized there was a huge gap in content relating to preparing and reviewing these festivals. She started a YouTube channel and began building the Emma Kapotes brand. Today, she has over 75,000 followers across various social media platforms that she all grew on her own. Amazing. When I say that Emma is a content creator extraordinaire, I mean it. And Emma has many different types of media that she creates for each social channel, varying from show reviews, festival fashion tips, artists to watch, product partnerships, and so much more. Emma and I went deep on how she stays so consistent and develops new ideas for her social media. Tons of great stories and pieces of advice in this portion of the interview. Of course, we talked about her podcast, the Rave Culture Cast. In April 2019, Emma started her podcast as an outlet to discuss new topics and build a community that can connect with each other across the world. Rave Culture Cast has been growing so much, and she recently started incorporating interviews with dance music artists like Elohim, Giobbi, Nostalgix, Kinch, and more. It's seriously such a great podcast. You just gotta love when two content creators and podcasters get together and have a conversation about dance music. I had so much fun getting to know Emma, and I am truly inspired by her commitment to the community on every level. Make sure to give her a follow and check out her podcast. Now, enough of me talking. Let's get into it right now so you guys can hear her story for yourselves. This is episode 199 with Emma Kapotes. Ladies and gentlemen, hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Sherm in the Booth. I'm here with my girl, Emma Kapotes. What is up, Emma?
Hello. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Of course. I got to tell you right away, without a doubt, you have the best setup out of anybody that I've had on the podcast. Camera quality, microphone quality. She even has headphones on. Usually someone didn't turn the lights on and it gets very dark halfway through the interview, or the microphone doesn't work, or they're getting calls. No offense to any of my people that I've had on before, but commend you for the professional setup.
Thank you. I was going to say, it's very nice chatting with you because you get it. You do this professionally. We've got the lighting. We're all ready to go. I'm pumped.
That's right. I send a respectable, hey, I'd like to have you on the show. Here are some dates. Follow up before. You still good to go? Guys, She was on the money at 7:00 Central tonight, and I appreciate that so much.
No, I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. So I've been following you for actually probably a little longer than you know, but I really started to hear about you through our mutual friend, Alex Amaro, and through everything that you've done with Gray Area in the past. And again, I just want to just show you respect and admiration. You work so hard. And as a fellow content creator, I don't think everybody realizes how much goes into it. And I just want to tell you, like, dude, I respect the shit out of you for everything you do. Like, it's
Thank you.
Great. And it's creative and it's high quality and it's fun and it's informative. And it's just like so cool to see somebody else trying to build a community like I am. And
Mhm.
I don't view us as competitors, even in the slightest. Like, it's all about collaboration over competition. And I have a lot of
100%.
respect for what you've done.
Thank you so much. I could not agree more. I know we were chatting. It's just nice to see other creators in this space like doing their thing, because I think so many people don't realize like if you have a passion for something, you can literally make it happen. So right back at you. You've had some incredible guests on here.
Yes, I've had a lot of fun with Sherman the Booth, but this is
Yeah.
episode 199. And
Oof.
to me, this is great timing because I feel like things are going so well for you and you've got a lot of exciting stuff. And it's a great year for dance music after the past couple of years when we've had a lot of uncertainty. Also, congratulations on getting married and getting a dog.
Thank you. Thank you. You're next.
Yeah, I am next. But you're very well-rounded.
Yes, I know. It didn't mean to happen that way, but like we came into 2022 hot, like right out the gate, getting married and getting a puppy, but very much looking forward to festival season and more exciting things.
Now, I got to ask real quick, your husband, is he into dance music culture?
No, not really.
My fiance is not either. Wow.
Really?
Okay, I'm not the only one.
That's so funny. I'm sure, like, does she listen at all, or she's just like, go do your thing?
No, I mean, like, she comes to shows, she likes the podcast, but she's not like talking in my ear about it. Like I talk about it all the time, you know?
That's so funny. Yeah, I know. Another thing we can relate on. Yeah, no, I think when we met, I was like just like getting back into my YouTube channel, which is what I started on. And I think he was just like so out of that world, but just respected it. And he's been like number one supporter. He bought me my first camera for Christmas. He bought me the microphone for Christmas. So he's always been like, go do your dream, make it happen. I'm going to sit back here, not know what you're talking about, but you do you. Yeah.
I love it. What's his name?
Brian.
Shout out to Brian. Shout out to Maya supporting us through our creative endeavors. We appreciate you guys.
Yep. That's awesome.
Glad we can relate on that. So I've got a lot of things to talk to you about today. You're multi-hyphenate in every sense of the word. So many professional skills we want to get into, but I always like to start these interviews off with a question. And I think you're going to like this one. You're clearly a fan first and genuinely love music. Do you remember your first live show experience or the music experience that you really made you fall in love with dance music?
Ooh, that's a good question. I immediately went to like my first live show experience, which was like probably in college. And it was one of those, like, it's Life in Color now, but it was Dayglow at the time.
Yes.
2011 was a fun time. That was my first,
the best time.
Yeah, it really, really was. It was a good time for dance music. So that was my first like show experience, being like, whoa, this is dance music. Honestly, I would probably say EDC Las Vegas 2016 had some pretty remarkable sets. And I remember it was the first time I saw Above and Beyond and Eric Prydz that year at Circuit Grounds. And those two artists are like solidified as some of my favorites. So I would say those two sets, I was like, boom, mind blown.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, Above and Beyond does things a little bit differently. I love it. And so does Eric Prydz. Yeah. Great answer there, actually.
They're both, I will never miss an Eric Prydz set. No, for sure. Yeah.
I think he's coming to Chicago. He sells out one night. They know that's going to happen.
Right.
Another night.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no, he's amazing. He's on the ARC lineup too. Very excited about that. Yep.
Yeah. With Adam Bear, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen one of those sets?
I did. Yeah. I saw them twice. They just came back to New York in December, and it was like one of the most filthy sets I've ever seen in my life. It was ridiculous.
So you like techno. I just want to make sure.
I'm getting more and more into it. I'm definitely not on the like expert level yet, but there's been an evolution in our music taste for sure.
For sure. Yeah. You keep wanting it to go faster and faster and louder and louder.
Yeah.
I feel you. And they deliver. Yeah. I've been to Movement a few times, and that's where I like really was like, wow, talk about a subculture and a subgenre, you know, like within the techno realm, how much goes on there, and the fans. I mean, it's all different. That's one of my favorite parts about dance music is like, it's not just EDM. And you've talked about this a lot, and I've talked about it a lot, but like, it's so much more than that. And honestly, going back to 2011, like you said, we have a lot of people to thank the EDM boom. You know, Avicii Levels came out right around then. I remember I saw Avicii. That was my first like electronic show.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm a freshman in college. I'm like, woo, what the hell is going on? This is amazing. Like, everyone's smiling. I'm dancing. I'm jumping. I'm singing.
Yeah.
And, oh, my gosh. I was just hooked. Such a special time, though. And when people talk, like, I mean, they talk shit about EDM. I'm like, Dude, I'm grateful for every single track that has come out that I've loved or even not liked, because it's helped lead me to the direction I'm in now.
For sure. Yeah, no, I forget who I was chatting about with this, because obviously there's like different generations of dance music fans. And like that's, the one we might relate hardest to, because that's when I discovered it, like the 2010 to 2012 kind of like era. But you can't be mad at it. It was such a good time for music, and at being at that age in college, like naturally it was going to be wild and crazy and it was fun and partying, but then a lot of people drop off and don't continue with it, and then there's other people like us who are just like, nope, we're hooked for life.
The hook was in very deep. I have not been sent back out to water. I am still frying on the fucking EDM grill.
Yes,
unbelievable.
That's
awesome. So where'd you go to college? 2011 you first saw your first show then, right?
Yeah, so I was a junior in college. I went to the College of New Jersey, stayed near home.
New Jersey, baby. I love the East Coast. It is awesome there. Great people, great food, so many different types of culture. And you're from North Jersey, so I imagine you went to a lot of shows in New York and stuff then?
Yep, that was pretty much it. There's not too much going on in Jersey.
That's true. Did you have like a lot of friends that you went to these shows with, or were you kind of like solo dolo when it comes to loving dance music?
So I was in a sorority in college, and there was like my 3 other like core girlfriends, and we did the first like EDC Las Vegas 2015 was my first big festival ever.
Wow.
And that was kind of like our group, and we did a lot of shows and festivals like after that. But now it's actually been a really nice evolution, because as I've gotten older, I've gotten like a whole like festival group of friends, and just even like colleagues and stuff like that. And they're some of my best friends. Now I have some of like my deepest conversations with these people. And now it's nice because I can either, even if I'm attending a show for work or not, I have like a whole new group of people who are like literally always down to be like, yep, I'll come to that with you. No problem. Let's do it. It's so nice, right?
People.
Yeah.
Shout out to our bad influences, but we love you.
Right. Exactly. No, but it's nice. It's kind of like the crew we have for next week for Ultra. It's just like a whole mix of people, which will be really fun.
That's been one of the best parts to me about honestly DJ culture for me. I grew up in Indiana, kind of like Jersey. There's not a lot going on, right? Like I had one friend that showed me Warp 1.9 by Steve Aoki and the Bloody Beetroots, and my mind was blown. And then he showed me Brazil by Deadmau5, and I was like, does anybody else like this? Why haven't I heard this before? He's like, no, I don't even know. Nobody likes it. And then I go to college, and like people like EDM and stuff, right? But like still there was not a lot of people who like loved dance music like me. I was going to Spring Awakening Chicago, and of course Lollapalooza, and going to the electronic stage every time. And then when one of the reasons I came to Chicago was to pursue a career in music, obviously. And I became really good friends quickly with people that I was going to these shows with or making music with. And that was weird for me as someone who like grew up like with friends that I've known since elementary school that are like standing in my wedding, like
right.
It's weird. I was like, kind of had like, I don't want to say his identity crisis, but I'm like, wow, like I feel a strong connection with this person because they're out here hustling like me, or they love music like me. I've never had these conversations with other people. And once I kind of realized that like, it's okay to have different relationships with people in your life. And that's kind of how it goes. That's growing up.
Yeah, I couldn't agree. That I just think of the word alignment when you say that, because I've met people like that too within the last few years. I think it's also like the common interest and like people on a similar wavelength or career path too. Just that connection is like so different and special, and it's nice just to have that relationship with somebody. So I've felt that way too. I've like met certain individuals, and I'm like, we were meant to meet.
Yes.
Like at this time in our life, we're making each other better people. Like it's a good fit. Yeah.
Yes. It's not cliche, people. It really does happen.
No, it does. I don't want to get all woo-woo on you guys.
Yeah. I don't want to get all woo-woo. Yeah. I'm glad that you can relate there.
Yeah.
So something I always love asking about too. I mean, like I said, you're a fan first, but there was a moment obviously for you, or probably over the course of a small period of time, where you said, all right, I love dance music. I want to start creating content. I want to turn this passion into a career, possibly. You said you had a YouTube channel. Sounded like you kind of stopped doing it for a little while. What was going on during that time? Why did you decide to start creating content?
Yeah. So it really just came out of like, I had gone to EDC, which now like I've, graduated, I've done a lot of other festivals, but still holds a special place in my heart. Still my favorite. It was in between 2016 and 2017. Like, obviously YouTube's been a platform for a long time, but I was just simply like YouTubing videos. Like, what do I pack? What do I wear? How do I prepare? And there was literally like, I remember there was one girl and maybe one other video by this guy. That was it. So there was not like music festival tips and advice content. So after doing 2016, I was like, okay, I have 2 under my belt. Like, I can just speak about my experience and tell people, because clearly other people must be looking and having these questions, and hello, YouTube is a search engine. So that played in my favor. And I just started making videos to like help people prepare for festivals. And then EDC was like my primary content. So I definitely grew because of that, but I did like makeup content in the beginning and other fun stuff. And then over the years, just really like straight up pivoted it towards like a lot of just like rave and EDM and festival content. And then the other platforms kind of came later, but I started that in March 2017.
Wow. And
Yeah.
it's grown so much. I mean, your YouTube is amazing. You've got 25,000 subscribers across 530 videos. Yes, I do my research.
Yeah.
Tons of videos with over 10,000 views, one with 225,000 views, which is the different types of EDM genres explained. Like, let's go,
Don't
Emma.
go
Talk
watch
about
that.
talk about like simplifying the whole process, right? And I think it's so awesome what you put out there. And I mean, listen, I just ordered the book, like the YouTube Bible or something like that. And you wrote this thing, like your thumbnails, your cover, like your organization, like I love it. So it's like, it's so cool to see how much you care about giving back. Like you found the void kind of accidentally, right? And then you were like, oh, well, there must be a demand out there. I'm not the only person.
Yeah, 100%. And then, I mean, it like just escalated from there, because I was doing obviously Electric Zoo here in the city, and like other festivals like that. And same thing, I was just like, no one is literally making videos. So that's kind of just how it expanded. Then I would say during lockdown, I obviously had to pivot my content because we didn't have any events or festivals, and I could have had a panic attack, but I very quickly was like, this is where we get to be fucking creative, and we get to really think about what other kind of content people want to see. And I just kept like churning out content during that time. And I think that definitely like helped and played in my favor, because I think a lot of people just like stopped posting entirely, which rightfully so.
Yeah.
But that's when I picked up like TikTok, and I like went ham with Instagram, and luckily like those two things did well as well. So now I kind of like post collectively across all of them.
Yeah, I want to dive into that because, like I said earlier, you're a multi-hyphenate, and if for those that don't know what that means, it's someone with several professional skills that have achieved at the highest level. I mean, your content creation for EDM, the whole entire community and festivals is like, it's really top notch. Like, I really
thank you.
It's super legit. That's why you have such a dedicated following. That's why people continue to follow you. I think when I started following you, maybe like 12,000 followers, you're 25,000 on Instagram now. And like, I'm not just trying to drop numbers. I'm trying to show people that like built it from the ground up. TikTok, you've got 24,000. Twitter, you got 3,000. And that's an extremely active audience there. And
I know, I'm like so on Twitter.
Yeah, I love Twitter.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. When I talk to Twitter people, though, Twitter people are hardcore, and I love it. Like, you probably have the voice for it. I haven't made that like connection with Twitter yet, but I totally respect that platform though, especially for music.
Yeah,
I'm sure you have fun with it.
Oh,
yeah,
for sure. It's awesome. It's very interactive, and I think Twitter is so unique in the sense where it's like it's things that I feel about right now, like it's actual conversation, where Instagram is for the most part things that I've done or I'm going to do. Facebook, I don't even know what Facebook is anymore.
Yeah.
And TikTok is awesome, but like it's kind of just like fun videos, right? Like it's hard to deliver a message. With Twitter, you can do so much and so little. I mean, it's literally just for the most part text, and it's like the last line of reality in social media, in my opinion.
Right. I do. I'm on Twitter a lot browsing. I would just say I'm like not using it as actively as I could be, but it's fun. I like following artists for sure. There's some very entertaining people out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is your favorite social media platform for you to create content for, though?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think it's still YouTube. I think YouTube still, like, just for the longevity of it, it kind of stands the test of time. Your videos are evergreen, like without fail, every single year. Right around when EDC happens, there's a spike in my channel, and it's content I've posted for the last 5 years still just like over and over again will come back. So there's like a really long life on YouTube, which I like. And I think sometimes people like also don't realize on video, you just can get to know a person so much better. So I've just like shared my life with people. I've done lives, like all kinds of things. So I just still feel that connection, but I'm trying to do that and create that experience on like Instagram and TikTok too, which I think a lot more people are on now as well. And short form is kind of just like where it's at right now. So
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. No, I love that. And I think one thing that as creators, we know each platform has its own type of dedicated audience. Like Twitter, we just mentioned, obviously, like there's certain types of, I have friends that hate social media, but they have Twitter, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I have friends that like will swear off everything, but they love TikTok and they won't admit it to people, right? Like same thing with Instagram and a Snapchat even, right? So it's cool because I do see, you know, obviously a little bit of crossover because we can only do so much, but you do a really good job, especially with YouTube and TikTok, with creating specific types of content. And all of your YouTube, you know this, I'm preaching to the choir, it's longer form. And that's where your followers really want to see you speak. It's where your face is on camera. It's where you're explaining things. And YouTube is the #1 social media, right? Like there's a reason that Google bought it. And it's because it's just such a relatable platform. Anybody can make it big on there. And it's where you can really connect with people. And it's my favorite personally. And it's where I believe my future audience, my biggest audience is.
Yes.
I'm just trying to get them to find me, but it's awesome. And I love how you do that.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, YouTube, it's definitely one of those things too. I would say, I think it was like August, maybe it was August 20. Yeah, it was still August 2020. Just to go back, it's kind of when I also, we had time, we were at home. I started like enrolling in a lot of free webinars and challenges. And I was like, no, I'm actually going to like learn about the platforms. I know I've learned them organically, like just by doing them, but why don't I like take people's courses and like actually learn about them? And then honestly, from that time until now is also when I saw like an uptake and everything. And it's because I kind of just like went back to school in a way and learned more about SEO or like learned about stuff you should know about for these platforms. And that was also kind of like a big turning point for me. So I did like a free 7-day YouTube challenge and kind of like went back to basics. And that was really, really helpful.
Yeah. Always be trying to get better and learn more. I did the same thing. I did it was basically a masterclass for podcasting with this company called On Deck. And it was awesome. I got to connect with podcasters from all over the world. I was the only person that was doing music interviews, and I learned so much from people. And I just like, it really changed my perception on like, I kind of felt alone as a podcaster a little bit, you know? And I was like, you hear there's millions of podcasts out there. And I'm like, well, who are they? Why am I the only person?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And it's just so cool. And I think that can be applied to anything. It doesn't have to just be like YouTube or social media growth. Like everybody is teaching in some way. I mean, it could be sports, it could be music industry, it could be whatever. And I also think it's really important to think about contributing to like the economy of that, you know, like region. Like something I always talk about with producers when you know, we get on the topic of like ghost producing or like doing everything front to back. I'm like, listen, there's only one Calvin Harris. Okay. Like you make the track, get it to as good as you possibly can. Send it off to someone who's really good at mixing and mastering. Send it off to someone who is really good. Like think about it as a collaboration and pay them for that work. Don't have them make the whole track, obviously, and stuff. But you know, there are people out there that want to teach and help others get better because then we all grow. So I love that. You got to do that.
Yeah. Do you listen to like yourself, listen to a lot of music podcasts, or do you listen to like other topics?
Dude, one of the biggest things they said in this masterclass was you got to listen to your own episodes. I was like, no way. No way am I going to listen to myself. I can't. And when I did, and I got better, as painful as it was, you got to get over your own voice too, for any podcasters out there.
Yeah. If you want to do any content, you need to listen to yourself. It's really uncomfortable, but you got to do it. Yep.
Simple advice. But yeah, I do listen to other podcasts, and it's weird. You listen in a different way. Like I'm really listening, you know, like I'm not just like passively listening. Even if I am passively listening, I'm like thinking about the pauses between questions. I'm thinking about the way that conversation is framed. I'm thinking about, like, I love Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. And he's interviewing Ed Sheeran, and I'm like, I would be sweating if I was him, you know?
Yes, totally.
Well, like it's just another person. So, you know,
Mm.
I've learned so many things from other successful podcasters and people like you too. I think you do a great job on interviews. You're so relatable.
Thank you. Oh, I like to make it, I mean, everybody's different. And I totally agree with you with like active listening. I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, they put an ad at this point and this is the way they did their ad
Yeah,
read.
that
That was
too.
really smart. That was really good wording that they used. Yeah. I'm always like taking notes, but yeah, even the way people, I don't know how you feel about this, but like, I haven't really stuck to a structure with my podcast. Like I'm very ADD in that way where like I test a lot of different sections out and then I'll kind of like get over them in a couple months. But I feel like just trying to figure out how you frame your episode too. Like I've done I kind of did like an EDM news segment at least for 2 years at the end. And now I'm calling it like the Rave Culture Cast recap. So that has stuck always, but the beginning section, I've like never fully nailed down what I want to do with that. But that's the fun. You can keep changing it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think probably your biggest fans love that. I mean, like we mentioned before, I want to always be unapologetically Sherm in my interviews, you know, like I just want to have fun with it. And that's the thing too, is like, I can't tell you how many questions I write out on the research I do and don't ever get around to that.
Yeah.
And that's
Yes.
okay. As frustrating sometimes as that can be. I'm like, I didn't ask that, but man, the conversation was so much fun. And I feel like we both walked away with a good experience, and that's all that matters to me at the end.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And do you get like the kind of, I always feel like I'm like high at the end of an interview, just in a good way, like high on life. That's how you know you love it, because I walk away from it. I'm like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like this feeling, I need more of this feeling in my life. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I could have the longest week or the longest day. And I'm sure you've had this sometimes minutes before the interview. I mean, it's like anything in life. It's like, I hope it cancels. I hope, like, I don't know, like you're going to work and you're like, I wouldn't mind if the train didn't come pick me up today, you know, but then you get there and you're like, I'm locked in. I'm meant to do this. Like, this is fun. This is what I love. And yeah, I completely agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, I have a question for you now. Sorry, I'm flipping this on you, but have you ever had this happen? Because I've talked to other content creators, because I work with content creators now too, like through just like social media coaching, I do a little bit of, and I know I've noticed people saying a lot of the times that, you know, if they have low energy or if they feel exhausted, like how do you continue to post and do that? And I'm like, maybe this isn't the healthiest thing, but the amount of times that I haven't been in the best mood or something, but it's like a job. You still have to show up and do your job. Like I've had podcast interviews before where I've literally been crying like 10 minutes before the interview and still fucking hopped on the interview. Probably not the best, but I know when I leave the interview, like the best mood ever. And I'm like, I'm glad I fucking did that. That's like literally what I needed. So sometimes you just got to do it. You got to keep pushing through.
There's no good way to explain it. It's just like a matter of willpower sometimes, right? Like, I mean, even on your toughest day, you got to try and push through and just know that like afterwards, it's always going to be worth it. I mean, it's just got to be consistent and repetition, get into a routine with this stuff. Like that's probably my piece of advice, is like, even on my most exhausted day or busiest day, right? I just know that like, I've been doing this. I can do this. I want to do this. This is what I love doing. Just get yourself in that position and mindset and stick to it. And I mean, that's easy advice to say when it can be so difficult to do that. But it's tough.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it.
When we're here talking now, I mean, I wouldn't rather do anything else.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's a very present feeling. It's the same feeling I get when I'm at shows too.
Give me a high five. I'm present. We're present right now.
I love it.
That's awesome. So you create so many different types of content. How the hell do you keep coming up with new ideas?
Great question. So I mean, I genuinely do. Like I put this in one of my courses too. Like I literally spill out what I do. So yeah, I mean, I think just being so heavily involved in the community is like, I'm in it. I'm in groups online. I'm in all the channels. I'm reading the comments. Like I'm on all the festivals pages. So just simply put, like a lot of it's like responding to people's comments. Like if I see questions asked over and over again, like I'm making a video to answer that question. Cause if the festival is not going to do it, I'll just do it. But like, honestly, it's that, or I mean, at least on TikTok, one of the best things about that platform is like the trends make it kind of easy for you. Cause things just pop up, trending sounds, trending like themes. And it's like, cool. I can just jump on this and make it work for my own content. So that's kind of like fun because that gives you like a prompt to go off of. But I would just say like really, really tuning into your audience and like what they need, what are they talking about, what's timely. I kind of like do a combination of all those things.
Yeah, no, I love that. And people always ask me that too. Like, how do you continue to do it, but how do you come up with all these new ideas? And look, all you got to do is just like look at the people who are interested in what you're doing. And you did a great job of this too in your recent episode of Rave Culture Cast. You got questions from the people on how to get involved in the music industry with a job or whatever it might be. And you spoke from experience, and that's a piece of content right there. And it's a great piece of content too. And I agree with you. I'm trying to not overcomplicate the process, reinvent the wheel, whatever sales motto you want to say. You know, it's like you just got to think about what you're doing and what you enjoy doing, and then just put the camera on sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think that actually is a huge roadblock for people. I've seen a lot is they don't start because they don't think they have enough experience yet, or they don't feel like the expert. And even that video, like that could be a very intimidating topic to talk about. Like I have not been in this industry professionally for a long time, even though I've been around it. Yeah. But I don't give a shit. Like I'm an expert. I'm an expert in my experiences, and I'm speaking about my experiences. So maybe I don't know like as much knowledge as like a super intense like industry insider, but I'm going to talk about my experiences, and that's where I'm coming from. So if everybody has experiences that they can kind of like speak from. So that's why I'm like, don't wait until you think you're an expert at something. Just start it now. You'll get better. You'll learn along the way. Yeah,
absolutely. Oh my gosh. Actually on the 5-year anniversary of Sherman the Booth, which is last September, which was just crazy for me. I put up a clip of episode 1001.
Oh, wow.
My tone was like,
yeah.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Sherm. Thanks for tuning in. This is my podcast every 2 weeks. I'm going to be doing this. And I'm like, who is that guy? That's not even me. Like, even at that point, that's not me. And looking back on that, I'm like, I had to do that to get all the way to episode 199, you know, like my tone and energy and passion. And it's the only way to do it. And I love what you said. I'm an expert in my experiences. And that's true. I think a lot of people think, oh, this person's going to call me out for that. Or, you know, I don't really know what I'm talking about. It's like, listen, once again, just do what you love. And if you love talking about these sort of things, or this is your passion, and you actually are serious about building a business, then just give it a shot and put yourself out there, because that's the 1%. 99% of people are not comfortable enough to put themselves on camera, to put their voice on the radio, to put a post up on social media, a story, whatever it is. So just know that, like, when you do that, you're joined with the 1%, and it's probably bigger than that, but you know what I mean? It's like, we're all here trying to do the same thing. So we support you.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I think some people have obviously like a negative connotation tied to social media, which I completely get that and see that. Yeah. But just from my experience, when I say like it genuinely changed my life, like it went from doing it for fun to I've literally gotten career opportunities and have completely changed my career because of social media. So that's why I'm like, it's totally possible. Like you start on the side or do whatever you've got to do. And of course, like I get comments all the time on videos, like you didn't do this correctly, or you misspoke. And like, I know, it's so easy to say that. I just like, if it's constructive criticism, I'm totally here for that. And then anybody else, I just like, let it roll off my shoulder. I'm like, you make a video about it if you really want to, but you're not. So yeah, you just gotta like, let it go.
I learned from some of the best in the game that once you have haters, you're finally doing something right, because nobody above you is going to talk shit. It's the people below you that are jealous. That's fair.
But yeah, no, there's always something to learn. But I mean, how do you feel about this like industry in itself though? Cause I know even I was just having this conversation today about certain artists having like huge success with their music, but for some reason their platform doesn't match the success and like talent that they have.
Sure.
And I'm like, I feel like sometimes now it seems like people almost have to be or have like a personality online to lift up their music and like career more. Like, what do you think about having that?
It's a great question. And it's an interesting topic that I think will never die, honestly. And it's continued to become more prevalent just because a music producer's content, for the most part, if they're just making music and are DJing, right, it's going to be their shows and it's going to be their music, right? And for a lot of the time before the pandemic, you go out and see them, you get that experience, maybe there's a meet and greet, right? But like behind that, who are they really? And that's why
Mhm.
there's like sometimes a cap on how big you can be, right? Like there are so many producers out there with like 30,000 Instagram followers, but like by fundamental definition, they're probably the
Mhm.
best producer in the game, right?
Right.
And then there are people that are maybe half as talented in that regard, but twice as good at putting themselves out there and are
Mhm.
bigger and get better festival bookings and whatever it
Right.
might be. And I resonate with both sides. I actually
Mhm.
manage an artist named Flanino here in Chicago, and he is one of the most like charismatic, awesome guys, but he hates putting himself on social media. And this dude is such a great producer and such a great DJ. And we've had to try and get him over this hump. If you want to grow, you're
Mhm.
going to have to show the people who you are. And I know that can be really tough for producers out there
Yeah.
because a lot of the times they speak through their music, right?
Mhm.
That's their language.
Yep.
And I hate to say it, but if you really want to boil it down to the business aspect, you got to adapt or you're going to die.
Mhm.
And it's the truth. And I
Right.
don't want to say it's the truth because I know Gasly just recently posted about this.
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Mhm.
I mean, he's speaking the truth. Like everybody agrees with him, right?
Mhm.
But, the music industry is still a business when it comes down to it. And people still want to, if you separate the business from the personal aspect, especially with fans, as a
Mhm.
fan, I want to know who this producer is that I love or this DJ, right?
Yeah.
So find ways to connect with your fans. It doesn't always have to be the usual, like, hey, what's up? I'm Sherm. This is who I am.
Mhm.
Like not everybody can do that. I get that.
Yeah.
But I do believe you're going to have to find a way to overcome and use social media to your advantage. And,
Yeah.
there's no right answer or wrong answer to that question, but it is a really
Mhm.
interesting topic.
Yeah. I think too, like the producers or DJs as well, like who jumped on Twitch also kind of like saw that success. Cause I remember even like I love Blossom.
Yes.
And I know she like popped off with her stream, and they're just like certain people who I think, I don't know, as a fan, I enjoyed it. Like it was really nice seeing certain artists like let you
Mhm.
into their life and house and things like that. So yeah, there's just some people that come to mind. Even there's a bass artist, she's amazing, called Zingara,
Mhm.
who I interviewed, and she was another thing like during the pandemic, was super active on TikTok. She was DJing on there all the time, posting her music, completely blew up. And I think now she just got like signed and released a huge single. And it's like, she's extremely talented, but also found a way to like blow up on this platform, which like then helped her get there faster, I think. So yeah, I think it's also, but I understand people who like want to let the music speak for itself. I just come from the social media side. So I'm like,
Same.
use it. Yeah.
It's always going to be like that. I mean, I think John Summit is probably the greatest example right now.
Yes.
He
Someone said it.
blew up.
I was thinking it.
I
Yeah.
got you. And I
Yeah.
don't worry. He's in everybody's daily conversation. He's an awesome guy, right? But he blew up during 2020, right? Like he had this track. He literally released Deep End on SoundCloud, defected, picked it up, re-released it. He didn't have any shows. He didn't do any live streams and stuff, but he put himself out there and grew so much. And then there was so much demand for him because of his social media following, right? Like he's got his whole brand, right? Like Life's a Bender or whatever, and like I just went to go see him at Cross and he had the most dense crowd out of everybody there. It was crazy, right? So like he's a great example. I interviewed his manager and I asked him about that, and he was like, we really pushed John to put himself out there on social media in a way that he feels comfortable, right? But we had to push him to put himself out there. So
right.
there's a line certainly for every artist, but yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I'd love to hear literally everybody's response to that, because I think everybody has a little bit different of a response, right?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think last thing I'll say, I'll think of Dylan Francis always too, because his fucking videos to me were the best, and I miss the Vine days, but like he's just my one of my favorite creators, and I feel like he had so much fun with it, and it was just like another level to an artist that was like fun and creative, and it didn't even like really have much to do with his music, but it just was him, and it made me love him more as an artist. So that's like another example I think of too.
He gets it.
He gets it.
He did it. He started this shit, honestly.
Fucking Gerald. I love Gerald.
Dude, he started this shit. Like I was just cleaning out my closet recently. Thank God, because I have shit in there. Literally, I have a shirt that said "fuck 2017," and I was like, yeah, fuck 2017. Are you kidding me? Like I bought this
That's
shirt.
amazing.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And I bought fuck 2018. Like, what am I doing?
That's amazing.
So
Yep.
it's like, and he is great in every sense of the word because he's a great DJ, producer,
Yeah.
person, right? And
Mhm.
there's not a lot of people like him because he is so funny and so good at
Yeah.
it. But he is a great shining example of how big you can get if you have the really the perfect puzzle.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Okay, I feel like I'm on the Rave Culture Cast and I'm having a blast.
See, this is what's nice. Podcasters, we just flip this shit on each other.
Yes, you're a great listener too. But we got to
Thank
talk about the
you.
Rave Culture Cast
Mhm.
because you've put out 150 episodes, right? Almost.
Yeah. This week's 149. Yep.
Let's go. Wow, 199, you're catching up to me. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
I mean, we'll see. I've just changed it recently to bi-weekly, which on the flip side of saying like you have to show up all the time, I also think you do have to rest when you need rest, and like social media isn't going to go anywhere. So right now I'm doing bi-weekly episodes, but yeah, we're at 149 tomorrow.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's such a great podcast because you described it as just your weekly guide or bi-weekly now to your EDM community, music festivals, and more. And you've really done such a great job with it. I mean, it's again so relatable to anybody that's a fan of dance music, right? Like, I mean, you've done interviews, you do discussions, self-reflection, everything, reviews, whatever it is. But let's go back to when you started it. Why did you decide to start a podcast?
So it was April 2019 was the first episode I ever did. Do you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk? Yeah. Okay. Some people are either hot or cold with him, so I never know what the reaction's going to be. But not gonna lie, I am a Gary Vee fan at the time. It was just like being drilled in like podcast. And like I listened to a lot of like entrepreneurial podcasts, but one of the main reasons was because YouTube at the time I was doing like really long YouTube videos, and that doesn't help like your watch time. So I was doing like 25-minute videos, and there were just some topics that I was like, this is too long form to fit in a video. Like this would be better, or I can talk more about it, or I can have guests on if I do a podcast. So that's kind of like, it was just an extension of what I was already doing. And I just felt like the community side of things was big for me because there are a lot of like artist interview podcasts and things like that, but there weren't as many people doing like voices of the community. And it's a small community. There's a lot of business owners, and then it extended into like industry professionals and artists, but I still at its core like to keep it like a voice of the community and like the collective.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No,
you.
Gary Vee is right. I mean, he is a bit intense, but
I know he's definitely intense.
Podcast, TikTok. Yeah. Anybody that's making fun of him, this is just so spot on.
It's a good, I mean, like you said, we were talking about like opportunities. I'm on all of the platforms, and like the podcast is a very different feeling and connection with people than the other platforms are, for sure. It's just like its own outlet, its own thing. And I feel like Rave Culture Cast kind of has its like own identity outside of me, which is why I like to keep it separate, and I really believe in it. But I love podcasting. It's the best.
Podcasting is awesome. I think a lot of people don't realize it's actually a pretty young industry. It's less than 20 years old, which is why a lot of people are just now getting involved. So props to you and I for, we
jumped on it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And it's really cool because it's almost like an audio book that you're hearing live sometimes, and like there's a psychological element to it as well, that you feel like you're in the room with people, which is sometimes a really special thing, like depending on the conversation and stuff. Like I've listened to some podcast episodes of I don't even know what, right? But like they resonate with me, and like I feel like I'm there and I'm laughing by myself as I'm cooking. It's like, who am I? Like I'm this crazy person listening to a podcast right now. But that's what's so exciting about it is it's just like a purely creative field, right? There's no right way to build a huge podcast. You can try. There's no path to success on how to build a business and become a millionaire off a podcaster. It's like, listen, it's as simple as having a microphone and figuring out what you're going to do with that.
Yeah. I totally agree with you.
Which is
I mean,
it's intimidating.
It is. And I don't know how like the beginning was for you too, but I think also like just being in it for the long haul, like it takes time for sure. And it took time to grow it up, but you just kind of like had to show up every week and try new things with it. But I agree with you on like the more intimate thing too. Cause I even feel like with artist interviews, like I don't really watch them as often on YouTube or anything like that. But I think people just, I don't know what it is about like having a microphone in front of you. It just feels more intimate. I feel like people can be more personal on a podcast as well. So I feel like you have the time to have like an in-depth conversation with someone, which is nice.
Yeah. Your brain starts to think a little bit differently, right? You're almost like on a talk show. And I love that. I love that. So many people that I talk to are like, I've never been on a podcast before. I'm like, well, you're literally talking with a microphone in front of you. So I wouldn't think too much about it. Like, that's why I love it. But you've grown so much with it, right? I don't think you started doing interviews. How long ago? What was the first interview that you did?
Ooh.
Because it didn't start as interviews, right?
No, it didn't. It was just, I was literally just doing like I was picking like topics and kind of like expanding upon them, which was a challenge in itself, trying to talk for an hour. I talk a lot though, but talking for a fucking hour, like you should see my scripts. I have like full blown outlines and scripts, which takes time to do that.
Yeah.
I started with like my content creator friends. So I started with like other YouTubers. I literally would have my friends on in the beginning who were like other ravers, and that's all we did. And we would just pick a topic. And then, oh God, I don't know who my first big interview was, but I think I like kind of expanded into like rave wear brand owners and, you know, festival fashion people and stuff like that. I don't remember I think my first artist was like a friend of mine, and I forget who it was after that, but but it's been exciting. There's been 150 episodes, so I don't remember.
That's okay. That's totally fair.
Do you remember yours? Who was your first interview?
It was a friend.
A friend? Yeah.
It was a friend. Yeah. I think it was episode 6. My man, Tony,
nice.
I was like, hey, you want to come on my podcast? He was like, sure. I was
right.
like, okay. And I used to I had a microphone that plugged into my iPhone, right? I think my mom got it for me, and I would go to someone's apartment or wherever I don't know. It was so jank, right? And I would sit there next to them, right? Like no cameras. We just talk in this little microphone, and gosh, my process was terrible. It took me like maybe like 4 or 5 hours, like just to like get all my stuff together. Once it was all said and done, then I was like, how do I edit this? Like, what is going on? I was hand mixing like literally sets, because I was like, do people want to hear music? Do people want to hear me talk? Do I do both? Right? Like it was just like, it was weird, but like you kind of like fell into what I really like to do, and it still changes all the time for me. So I know what you're talking about. The early days are fun though.
It is. I mean, and I really do like guest episodes, but I sometimes get like mixed feedback too, because I poll my audience regularly and ask them, and a lot of them also say like, I like the topical episodes, or I like the festival reviews where you're like being honest and giving your opinion. So I definitely still like to just like, I usually just like poll people on social media, get their responses in, and then like talk about them on the podcast too. So those are really fun to film as well.
Yeah, it's awesome. You have great variety. And you mentioned some of your interviews. You've had massive guests on, Emma, LP, Giobbi, Nostalgix, Elohim, you mentioned, Landis, Bonton, Kyle, Kinch, who is the man.
I love him. Well. Yeah, he's awesome.
Kyle's great. And he is just blowing up right now too, which is awesome. And you do something like I do too, right? Like it's not just DJs and producers. You interviewed Nikki Siag, right? For marketing for Dirty Bird.
Yep. And she's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Right. And I mean, it's so cool, because when I saw you doing that, I was like, fuck yeah. Like that is what I'm talking about. Like shooting for it. Like Nostalgix is huge. LPGOB is huge. And like, I love them, female presence. You have awesome topics. I know you talked about like LGBTQ topics, women in the music industry. I love that so much. I just want to show you props for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's very important to me to like literally touch on everything, and like I get feedback, and I feel an obligation to, like with my platform, obviously being female, like is very important to me to highlight female artists. But even like I did one episode about mental health too. That was like one of the most listened to. That also was just like a very special episode. And sometimes they surprise you. Like you go back and look at what ones are the most listened to. Actually, like the most listened to, which isn't surprising, is like substance use. I've done an episode with Dance Safe, and that was one of the most listened to, which I actually value, because it was jam packed full of like how to like test your shit and be safe and things like that. And I'm like, cool, if that's the one people are most interested in and they learn a lot from them, then like great, then that makes me happy. But yeah, it's surprising to see like what ends up doing really well.
That's awesome. I mean, again, I know how much goes into creating a podcast, editing a podcast, releasing a podcast. you got videos on Spotify, girl. What the hell? They look
Yeah.
great. I thought they were only
Thank
releasing
you.
that to certain people. Did you get picked?
Yeah, I mean, I think so because I have some friends of mine too, like started a podcast maybe like a year ago, and I actually saw them first doing it, and I was like, "What the hell? You guys got it!" And it was just I upload through Anchor still, which is like a free podcasting platform.
Oh yeah, they love Anchor.
And I just had an email being like, "You can do this as a test run." And I personally do like to watch. I do both. I probably 50-50 watch and listen. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, "Oh, I'm putting that up on Spotify 100%." Yeah.
Yeah, it looks great. It's awesome.
Thank
And
you.
It's so cool too, because like there are times when I want to watch and there are times when I want to listen.
Yep, definitely. That I think that's like it with content at the end of the day. Like come to the people, like meet them where they're at. What do they want to see? And I like to watch videos too. So yeah, I'm very happy about that feature.
Says a lot about podcasting again. Spotify really buying into that. You know, like say what you want about Joe Rogan, he made $100 million off a deal with Spotify, right?
Right. Yeah.
So I guess maybe there is a roadmap to making a lot of money in podcasting, but like he's the only person to do that. Like, are you kidding me? It's crazy. So it's like there is a demand for people like us out there, and Spotify has finally acknowledged it.
For sure. And I mean, we've talked about it too, just even the setup, I think like looking forward, always looking to improve. I think doing like more in-person stuff. Like I'm in New Jersey, so I don't really ever picture people coming to my house. I don't really see myself having like a full blow in-person studio. But like one thing I personally have a goal of this year is to do more like on-site stuff or work with other like festivals or brands and do things in person. Cause I think I've been a little shy at home. I'm like, I've got my Zoom. Yeah, it's a little bit more safe, but I want to
right now, Emma. You can tell me the truth. You got pajama pants.
I have leggings on. Yeah.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
There's a problem. There's a different energy. I don't know if it's like the equipment. It probably is the equipment that's like the intimidating factor for me in person. Obviously, it's a lot more like involved with everything, but that's my challenge this year. I want to do in-person stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah, in-person is a whole different game. I mean, like I'm literally sitting here in my apartment too, and it's like I kind of like it sometimes, you know, when it's like, because when I have to set up in person, like it's no easy feat, you know. I got to set up all these cameras, and I'm constantly thinking in the back of my head, is it still recording? Is the audio working right now?
Right.
You know? You have to like get through this stuff. Like here, I know we're good. I got two things to look at, and in person, you're gonna be so great at it, though. I'm just so confident in that, because like you got a great energy to you, and you're so relatable, like I said, and when people feel comfortable, that's when they're at their best. And that can be really hard thing to do sometimes with in-person interviews. Right. Again, to bring it back to producers, I know a lot of weird producers, you know, they're not exactly people. They're not exactly great with people.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Right. But when I feel like I'm at my best is when they're most comfortable, anybody. So that's something too about in-person interviews that is a challenge, but is also something that I really enjoy, because I mean, I can't tell. I live in downtown Chicago, right? So like, I'll tell people to come to my apartment, and they don't just walk in and we sit down. They'll come in. Some people, my fiance is a little concerned about this, but they'll stay for like 4 hours on like a Tuesday night, right?
Yeah.
But I'm like loving it. I'm like, this is awesome. I get to hang out with this person who I've been trying to hang out with for a long time, or whatever it is, right? And it's just like you can just feel an energy to it. And but on the flip side, remote interviews also give you a little bit less of a barrier when it comes to like schedules, and you know, you could be on your phone, your laptop, as long as you have Wi-Fi, not even sometimes. So there's two sides to every coin. Yeah.
And I think, I mean, I love, it's not necessarily like podcasting, but I'm definitely planning to do this like more this year too, now that we have events and stuff back, but even doing like more crowd work. It's a lot, like it's obviously a lot when you're at a festival, and it's something I still work on, like balancing working and enjoying myself. But I shoot a lot of content at festivals, but I really want to do more like crowd work, like interviewing people in the crowd just for fucking fun. Do you watch Gestures, like Make Ravers Rich series that he does?
I've seen those for sure. I love it.
Like I think that content is so fun, and like he and I have talked about it before, and I just like not necessarily do that, but I have my mic. I'm like, I'm ready to get out in the crowd and just like see what happens.
It's so much fun. I did something like that on a few boat parties actually. And I literally had like a lavalier mic. I'll send it to you. You'll love it. I
Yeah.
had a lavalier mic tied up to me. I've got no script, right? I'm walking around with a bucket
Right.
hat on, being like, "How the hell are you?" You know,
Yeah.
just winging it. And people
Yeah.
are like, they see a camera and a mic and a guy, and they're like, "Hi, yeah, I'd like to be on camera or whatever." And
Exactly.
it's so much fun. Honestly, the content with people in the crowd is better than the artists a lot of the time, because like they're
Definitely.
so pumped to be there, and they're like ready to like tell you why they're there, who they're there with, who they're excited to see. And I
Mhm.
think that is what really gives people that maybe have not been to the event or have been many times that connection to the actual festival, label
Right.
party, venue, whatever it is, right? It's just like that relatable connection with someone who's just like you and I, right? And
Mhm.
I think that there still is a gap in the major festivals like that, right? Like Ultra,
Yeah.
EDC. It's like how much content do they put out there? How much do they put into the actual like, you know, experience for people? Is that put on
Mhm.
camera? Is that put on audio? Because like I know Pasquale's big thing is you are the headliner, right? And I love that. And
Mhm.
that's the message that I'm trying to say here. But let's give those people a voice.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you on that. I think I know I've seen certain brands, like I think just because of the formatting of TikTok, I've seen more festivals like obviously trying to get on there and
Definitely.
do what they can in the crowd. But I mean, I can just speak from experience and say it myself. Like I've seen more activity from events, and like I've chatted with like some festivals here and there. So I definitely feel like they're noticing and realizing like we need to have creator programs, or like we need to have ambassador programs. And like they're realizing that we just need to like get people involved. So I think
Mhm.
we're going to see like more and more of that for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And I think probably everybody's favorite piece of video from a festival is like that really drunk guy eating a hot dog, that when the hot dog falls out of his bun or some shit, you know, or somebody chugging a beer, whatever it might be, right? Some girl like twerking to Claude Von Stroke, whatever it is, right? Like,
Yeah,
that's why we go to have fun. So I want to see the people that are having fun.
definitely. And I mean, some of the, like I watch obviously a lot of friends of mine who have vlogs, and like as a fan, when I'm looking up festivals, I'm looking at people's vlogs, and those are some of my most viewed videos too. And you have like obviously the professionally edited highlight reels and after movies that festivals do, but
Yeah.
then there's this like whole other subculture of just creators doing their own fucking vlogs and
Yep.
showing what it's actually like. So that's like a whole other thing. But I love shooting festival vlogs too. They're so much fun.
That is a great topic that we're definitely
Yeah.
going to talk about another time, because
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts on that too.
Yep.
There's a big missing link there. But
Yeah.
I want to ask you kind of a hot topic again right now, and it's
Mhm.
house music, right? It's techno. It is bigger than it's ever
Mm.
been before. I'm here in Chicago. This is where house music was
Yep.
born, right? And I can't tell you how big of a difference it is here 5 years ago compared to where it's at now, right? Like the rise of artists like John Summit, Fisher, Chris Lake, Sonny Fodera, Nora and Pure.
Mhm.
I mean, they're bigger than ever, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, when we started, we're talking about Avicii and Swedish House Mafia.
Yeah.
I mean, Swedish House Mafia is always going to be the biggest, but like, I feel like people might be more excited for a Chris Lake show than a Swedish House Mafia show sometimes, right?
Fair enough. Yep.
Maybe. I don't know. But my question to you is like, why do you think house and techno is so much bigger than it's been?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, so this is definitely something like in the past year that I've been working with Gray Area. Like we are a house music discovery platform. So just learn like so much through that. I don't know if it's just the evolution of people's like taste in music, or because tech house just happened to be the genre that like took off and grew in popularity and was like #1 in people's Spotify. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just personally a fan of that kind of music. Like it's just grown on me so much. I love the culture around it. I love the live shows. And then there's just so many fresh, like really talented new artists coming up, and I just have like the best time at these shows. So I mean, yeah, like John Summit, again, using him as an example, but other artists who kind of just came up and popped off and have this like really, really fun sound. I'm a big fan of West End right now too. I have to name him. I love West End. Yeah. I just saw him at the in Brooklyn, and he was awesome. That was at Side Pieces show. So it's just fun. It's a good energy. I don't even know if like social media plays a part in it too, but I also think like songs have this second life on TikTok too, where they can just like absolutely pop off and grow a whole audience on there. But I think we're seeing it shift from like the European crowd and like come over here, which is really cool.
For sure. I think all great points. And like I speak from my experience, you know, we started in the Avicii world. I loved trap and big room. I never really got into the rhythm. I like dubstep because I love Skrillex, and I know you do too. Always got a special place in my heart.
Yep.
But you know, like I continued to go to festivals and stuff, but physically I don't have it like I used to, right? Like I can't go headbang or jump for 3 days, but I can two-step for 3 days, right? And I go to these house music festivals, and it's just like such a different vibe. Not to say that people aren't there for the music and other things, right? But people are there to dance. And I think that's what's changed. I'm starting to feel a lot older when I go to shows or DJ myself because there is a younger crowd there. And I'm like, that used to be me going to big room shows, right? But
Right.
There's our generation, 27 to 37 or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
We still love dance music. We still want to go to festivals, but like I can't do it physically like I used to. And house music, I think it actually blew up during the pandemic because it's easier to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, it can be casual, it can be heavy. And like you said, the talent these days is nuts.
Yeah.
It is crazy. I mean, there's absolutely no barrier to entry. You know, I've interviewed DJs that started in the 80s and 90s, and they used to carry crates to their shows, right? And they saw when, you know, synthesizers became a thing and DAWs started to become real. Kids will be 16 out in the Chicago suburbs, and their mom will give them a Serato controller, and they'll, you know, pirate Ableton, and they're going to have the sickest track 6 months later. And I'm like, when I was 16, I was like not doing that, you know? So it's like a change of the times and the technology. But I mean, as a house music fan, as a house music DJ producer, there's never been a better time in dance music, in my opinion, because it's just like, it's gone up. It's always continued to go up. And now people are like, oh yeah, this is pretty sick.
Yeah. And I feel like there's certain labels too that just have like done an amazing job of like pushing it forward. I personally started, my entryway was like bass house. So I had like friends show me like wax motif sets and like AC Slater. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Yeah. I was like, oh my God. And that was kind of like almost like, my transition almost from like mainstream EDM, like into that. Right. And then it went, you know, obviously more just into like tech and general house. I mean, I do think like probably bigger artists like Fisher having a ton of success, like brought that up. And I'm a huge fan of Chris Lake, but I could even see it. I mean, it could just be personal taste, but I could also see like, I'm a huge Lane 8 fan. And he just seems to like grow in popularity each year too. So I'm like, oh, I wonder if like deep house is kind of going to be this next like move, or if that's just where my head is going.
I think you might be
techno
right.
though too. Did you see Bijou tweeted this week? Because I love Bijou. I love like Dr. Fresh and all that shit.
Yeah.
He tweeted this week. He was like, I'm making techno now. And I was like, here we go. This is now it's gonna be techno. It went from tech house to techno, and now all the DJs are gonna be doing this.
Finally, that's what I say. Finally. Yeah.
I'm all about it. I love that shit. So
I'm all about it. I think I actually was listening to this old interview with Tiësto's from like 8-9 years ago, and he was talking about how he was starting his after hours label and how it was like deep house and tech house and stuff, right? And he's like, "This is my best Tiësto impersonation. Let me get into it. Tiësto, put your hands up in the air. Okay, you know, EDM is not different than house and techno. I can't do it. I sound like I try and talk like him, but." His point was, he was like, it's always been here, and people just are calling it different things.
Yeah.
And now you see somebody like Tiësto, he's putting out house and tech house. He's Alesso putting out house. Odessa putting out house. David Guetta literally created a tech house alias called Jack Back.
Right.
And I know a lot of people, techno elitists, right? They're like, there's no room in here for people like that. And I'm like, we need that. Because those guys are on the main stages playing up and comers house tracks. That is awesome. We need leaders of the industry that are open to new ideas. And I think what people don't realize is people like David Guetta and Tiësto, you know, this music's been around since the 90s. That's when they started, right? That's what they were playing. They're happier than ever to finally be playing this music again. Right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and that's why like Arc being like happening when it happened just like makes so much sense. And like I've never done movement. I'm sure like I'm happy that's coming back this year. I feel like that culture in itself is probably fucking wild. But ARC being when it is, and then now that it's like expanding to 3 days, I think is like a testament in itself with how that's going. And then I haven't gone because it only happened once, but I really would love to go to Day Trip in LA, which was like Insomniac's response to House Music Festival. So I think we're just gonna see like more and more people wanting that, which I'm all here for. So
me too.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say it time and time again. It is just a really exciting time in dance music because there's so much innovation going on every side of the business. The actual festival aspect and club aspect and venues and the musical aspect and the collaboration aspect. I mean, during the pandemic, I saw collaborators between different genres all over the place, right? Fusing together these genres that you could never even imagine, right? Like there is no genre for some of the music that's out there right now. And it's just like, it's awesome because as a DJ, I'm like, I got some weapons. Like you guys don't even know what I'm going to drop right now, right? People are like, what the hell was that? My feet are moving, my face is not, you know? So it's like, it's just like a great time as a fan too, of course. So I don't know, just exciting times, but I do agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was just announced too. I didn't get to catch the show, but I remember people like freaking out because Cascade apparently like played like techno at the end of his like EDC set, and people were like, "What the fuck is this?" And then they just announced like he's doing an alias with Dead Mouse now, which apparently they're playing at EDC. Like I'm gonna be there because that will be wild. Yeah. So seeing that too, it's like, okay, we're going there. But it's exciting. I love the David Guetta and Morton's project, the Future Rave.
Yes, me too.
Project. For some reason, just like hits me in the best way possible, and I love it.
Dude, it brings back that old school. It's like the
so
super
good.
big synths, like that. The Fleetwood Mac remix that they have is like, I mean, I am like tingling when I hear that shit live. Like it is awesome.
Totally.
It takes me back, but it's got this really great pace on the drop. That's not like jumping. You're like, yeah, like I'm raving. Yeah.
It is so good. Yeah. I remember Morton played, it was at EDC Orlando. And I remember I just like told my group, they put him at like, he was on main stage, but he played a second show at the Corona Electric Beach, which is this like small, sponsored stage with sand. And it was like 10 PM. There's all these other like big artists on. I was like, guys, trust me, just follow me to the Corona Electric Beach. You won't be disappointed. And we're all like in the front. There's not that many people there. And Morton like comes out and plays all the future rave shit. And we were like, what is going on? This is like it was one of the best sets of the whole weekend. Yeah. So yeah, it's exciting. People are coming out with some really, really exciting stuff.
For sure. And I think it's great too, because like these OGs, these really, really great producers are being challenged too, right? Because they're like, oh, like this little guy made this track, like this is sick. I'm dropping this has inspired me. So it's just like this incredible, like I said, fusion of talent that's like collaborating to and being inspired by others. And it's just like, I don't know, I'm so excited for the rest of this year because a lot of labels were holding out due to just like uncertainty with marketing and stuff, right? Like some of these biggest labels, they've had tracks backlogged for like 6 to 8 months. And every time I interview producers, I'm like, so, you know, like, what's your favorite track that you've released? If you could decide, they're like, dude, I got tracks coming out that are way better than have come in the past. I got to get these out, right? That's like the common answer. So that's going to be this year for dance music for sure.
Yeah. I think a lot of the, from what I've heard, like a lot of the festival lineups too are kind of like carrying over to this year as well, because they never happened. So finishing out this year and like moving into next year too, I think we'll have some really interesting lineups, hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. So what do you got the rest of this year? You're going to Ultra very soon. Super pumped for you.
Yes. Yeah. Ultra. I didn't really like get to do Miami Music Week. I only went in 2017. I was like a little young raver. So I did one party, but this time we're doing it right. So I'm doing that. I'm going to do Project Glow, which is a new festival in DC in April. On the fence about EDC. Working on that. We'll see what happens.
Really though? Come on.
I'm working on something for that. So we'll see. But if that happens, then yes, I'll be there. And then Electric Forest and ARC are the other ones, and EDC Orlando. So that's kind of like my schedule for the rest of the year. But Electric Forest, I will be a first timer, and that's probably like my most anticipated festival of the year. Very excited for that.
I know I've got to make my way out there. It's so highly regarded. Obviously, it's pretty close to Chicago, so I've been hearing about it for years. I mean, it's certainly like a way of life. It's one of those festivals.
Yes.
Where people go for the
Yeah.
festival. They don't even care about the lineup, and obviously the lineup always smacks. But it's like, it's really awesome, the community that they've built there. I mean, it's so cool. It's literally, I mean, it's the Sherwood Forest. Like, it's crazy. The videos you see, I'm really jealous you're gonna be able to experience it.
Dude, yeah. I just said dude now. I'm stealing.
Dude,
words.
I gotcha.
We're doing like a whole group camp with like 40 plus people. And same thing. I mean, I think their festival, like the people who get it. And I know like their lineup always kind of like gets mixed reviews. But even as like a house fan, I respect all the genres and I look at it and I'm like, cool, I'm actually down for whatever happens that weekend. And I'm excited to do some new people. I don't really listen to Porter Robinson that often, but
yeah, why not?
Him in the Forest sounds like a great time. So
exactly.
So we'll see.
I think the acts there get that, like, I'm playing it not EDC, right? Like, this is where I can really
different vibe.
Yeah, be creative and play stuff I've never played before, or like whatever it is. And that's probably the best part that I've heard about it, is like the sets that these guys are playing. I mean, it's highly regarded, highly coveted as a DJ for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have all our good house artists there too, and yeah, there's gonna be some special sets. So very excited for that.
Dang. Well, you definitely got to hit me up when you come to Chicago. I'm going to ARC on Sunday for sure. Kills me you can't go all 3 days, but I got to play North Coast on Saturday. Ugh, you know, how embarrassing.
Vlog your trip, vlog your DJ experience.
For sure. I need to. I'm telling you, like, you've got me fired up right now to start vlogging everything I do. Because like I told you, I've had like some interviews cancel, and literally I was sitting here ready to go for an interview. And he's like, I got to push it. I'm like, I got to record something right now. Like, I'm sitting here ready to go. And I asked Maya, I was like, what? I called her. I was like, I'm here. I got to record something. She's like, you just went to San Diego. Just talk about your trip to San Diego. I'm like, yeah, good idea.
There you go.
Yeah. I just like rambled on for 10 minutes. And I told my video editor, please cut out all the bullshit there. And I sent her my pictures and videos. And she sent me a draft of it today. I was like, this is great. Like, what the hell? I should do this more.
People, we have filler episodes. We're not going to tell you which ones they are, but there are filler episodes in there. It happens. You got to like think on your feet, and just, that's when some of the topic episodes come up. I'm like, all right, well, what are people talking about right now? That's the episode. It's 20 minutes, calling it a day.
Comes out. The truth comes out. Yeah. It's okay. It's okay.
Sometimes those end up doing the best. So
yes,
you never know.
True. So true. And like you said, overarching, got to have fun with the process, no matter what. Love what you do.
Yep. Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Emma, you're great.
Thank you. This is why I love this shit. Cause I'm like, we could talk about this forever, but we'll continue when you come on the podcast.
Yes.
We'll pick up.
I'm already excited. I mean, I'm definitely going to have that moment afterwards that we talked about. I'm like, I love this.
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Well, you go enjoy your night, pet your dog, take him out to the bathroom, because this has been over an hour. I know he's got to go. Yeah. And enjoy your trip to Miami, to Miami. And I'm so excited for the people to hear this. It's going to be an awesome episode. And if you made it all the way through, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, what's up? And thanks for watching that video. You looking for more content now? I got your back. Go to my YouTube channel right now, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you turn on all notifications so you never miss any upcoming exclusive artist interviews, Sherman the Booth clips, new music, live sets, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything electronic music. Cheers.